Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I'm here with you with a little project that I had talked about doing with you, and I wanted to get started on it. I think this is going to be maybe 2 sessions, I don't know, possibly 3. We'll see. I'm hoping it'll be 2, but what we're going to do is I'm going to make a little planner. Not really a planner, more like a December daily. And I'm going to be using 2 Reader's Digest. I think we talked about you can use 2 books the same size. They have to be the same size. They don't have to be Reader's Digest. I happen to use these. It's better if they have a spine that is open like this, if you look at that in the back, because it's easier to cut away. But if you don't have one like that, you can still do it. It's just a lot harder. Anyway, I'm using these 2 Reader's Digest for the cover, basically. They're going to be made one, okay? Also, you're going to be making, it's going to have, on one section, it's going to have 2 journaling sections where you can journal. And then on the other side, on the other spine, it'll have 3 file folders, maybe 2. We'll see. And then it's also going to have a section in the middle where it'll hold a different ephemera. And on the very end part, it's going to hold a little notepad. And this is something that I'm making for myself that I thought maybe you might want to make. And I'm doing it now ahead because, you know, all the good intentions that we all have. Last Christmas, I didn't really start doing anything until, gosh, the middle of November. And I was just swamped. So, partly because I was making a lot of gifts for people, and then people saw what I was making, and then they wanted me to make things, and it just snowballed, and I had a whole lot of stuff I was doing. Gosh, I think I was doing things until Christmas Eve, and I don't want to do that again this year. Anyway, this is going to be set up kind of like a December daily for me, and you can do this any papers. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be any time. You can do this as a gift. And that's why I'm trying to, in my series in October, do any kind of journal ideas that are different that you may want to do as gifts that take a little bit longer. And then I think in November, I'm going to try and do a lot of projects that are like 1 or 2 hour projects, and you just, you know, they're done. And so that if you want to make some quicker type gifts that are still very nice, you know, you can do that also. That's probably what I'm going to do in November. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to get started on this. You're going to need your books. You're going to need your, we had talked about file folders. You can either use file folders or you can use cardstock. You just need something that's, you know, like a cardstock weight. And file folders work. I am probably going to use cardstock. And it needs to be a decent weight. I showed you this last time. I think I'm going to use this. You know, this is heavy enough. It's not as heavy as a file folder, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to use that. And I also am going to incorporate some papers. And, you know, all this is optional. You don't have to have any digitals or anything in it. You could just go get you some, or take some cardstock you already have and use it. I've had this for a while and I've been wanting to use it, and I was supposed to use it last year and I never did. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then what happened to the rest of this? Oh, I am using some digitals from My Porch Prints. Shabby Pink journal kit. And it has a lot of different elements in it. And I think it goes really well with this. So I'm going to try and incorporate some of that in there too. So anyway, if you're interested, and I got the numbers too. So anyway, I just thought that I'm going to have some other papers that I'm going to put in there, and also some coffee dyed paper, and you know, just that normal kind of stuff you put in a journal. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I am going to also, I'm not going to use the file folders. So I was at first, but then I found those papers and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and show you, you know, how you can get it out with the file folder. But it's basically, I'm only using the file folder just for the fact that it's of the weight of it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. To reinforce it, the spine, I am going to be using this Tyvek, and I got some on Amazon. I'll just show you that. It's I don't know. I looked for the link and I couldn't find it. But just type in Tyvek, T-Y-V-E-K, and you can get it. And it's just basically kind of a nylon-y paper, and it's very strong. And I'm going to use that to reinforce my spine. You can also use, which I think works extremely well, you can use duct tape. I use it all the time. Or you can use, this is not micropore tape, it's athletic tape, and it's like a material, a cottony material. And this works really good too. I don't know, you know, actually I might use that. That would fit in there perfect. Huh. Maybe I'll change my mind. But anyway, those are the three things you can use. Now, make sure you don't get the micropore. Micropore is the kind of papery. This is the stuff that's more fabric. And, you know, the only thing about this is the glue on this is really meant to come off because it's supposed to stick to your, you know, just temporarily stick to your skin. So you have to put glue on with that. The duct tape, you can just put that right on. Okay, what other things? Oh, I am going to use my tab punch to make the tabs for the file folder. You can use, if you find anything that has a tab on it, a file folder, a small file folder. I have these right here that I have copied before. I have a little tiny file folder somewhere under here. This works great. You can copy those to do a tab, but I'm going to just use my tab punch. And also, I had told you that this is something that I saw on Dawn on the Book Vandal, and I'll put her link up there with this. She did one in incredible detail. I'm going to go kind of fast because I want this to just be 3 sessions on this, hopefully even 2. So I'm going to try and go really fast through it. I would watch hers, you know, if you want a lot more detail. I'm just going to basically show you the guts and how to put it together and then the finished product. And that's kind of what I'm doing with all of these series, because the decorating part takes a long time, and I just want to make sure that we have time to do all the things that I want to do through October and November. Okay, so I got that. Let's see what else. I am going to also, kind of just for show, on the inside, I am going to put some material in, and this is kind of a gauzy material, and then kind of a cotton duck material. I'm going to put that inside the spine, just because I want to shabby it up. I'm going to make this kind of shabby. And these books are kind of old. I'm going to leave the cover as is because I like these. I would have loved to have 2 the same, you know, the same color, because this color really works. This is gold. I think it's going to look pretty good. This is going to be on the inside, and all you're going to see is this outside of it. So I think it's going to work okay. I was thinking about gessoing it all, which you could do. You don't have to leave it plain. I was thinking about gessoing it all and roughing it up and then doing it, but I'm going to see how it looks when it's done, and if I don't like it, I'll go back in and change it. But I think that's what I'm going to do. And for a binding in the journal portion, you can use, I have a ton of this, and again, I bought this off of Amazon, and this is 2mm, which I think works the best. I have this elastic that I could use, and I was going to use, okay, but I found this stuff at a thrift store, and it's gold, and I think it'll work. I think this will work. It looks like it might be 1mm, which is kind of thin, but I think because the journals are not going to have very many pages, I think this will work. I'm going to try it because it's gold. I think it looks kind of pretty. If it doesn't, I'll use the black because I already have it. Let's see, what else do I have? I think that's pretty much it. Just glue, and you know, I'm going to use my scoreboard and my cutter. So that's pretty much it. Okay, first thing we're going to do, let's get right to it, is we are going to take apart our books. And the reason people love these Reader Digests is, for one thing, the size of them. It's really a good size. They're not too big, not too small. The spine's pretty good size. And also, a lot of them have this, you know, this, what do you call it, detached spine. So it makes it really easy to take them apart. So take your, and this, remember, I was trying to remember what this was. Okay, so just take your knife, your craft knife, and all you got to do, here I'm going to try and do it to where you can see it. You'll see that this is separated on, at least on these. If it's not, you can still take it apart with another book, but it's just a little harder. But these are really easy. Try not to cut the actual spine itself because, well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can repair it. And don't cut yourself. Now, see how that's come off? So, anyway, we're going to do that on both sides. And just kind of take it to where you can see it. It's kind of a cloth material. And this is it's a pretty old book. So, I mean, not antique old, but it's older. So, it's going to come apart pretty easy. You know, of course, save the book pages. Although, I'm telling you, I have so many book pages. A lot of book pages. I have to do something with them. Okay, so there's one. Nice and easy peasy. So let's take the other one apart. All right. And I love the color on this. I even love the inside cover. But it's just, the gold one is kind of messed up. This one's in pretty good shape. I'm probably not even going to cover this. I'm probably just going to leave that the way it is. And you do what you want to do. I mean, if you have two books and you don't like how they look on the outside, I would just take some gesso and go over it. And then you can paint it if you want to. You can just rough it up. You can do whatever you want to do. I am actually going to leave these. The outside of this says Little Woman, Tales of Poe. I think I like it, okay? Just like that. And what's going to happen is these two are going to fit inside each other, okay? So really what you're going to see mainly is this part, okay? All right. So now what you need to do is we need to reinforce our spines. I guess I'll do this one first. And what I'm going to do is I need a piece of some sort of reinforcement to go in here, but partly because the spine is so weak here and it might flop if it has pages against it. What I am going to do is I'm going to add a little extra help in there, and I'm going to take, and I don't want anything too thick, but But I am also going to take part of my, get my cutting board out here. I am going to take part of my file folder, and I am going to go ahead and figure out that width in there. You could do something stronger like chipboard or whatever, but I honestly don't think we're going to need it. I'm only going to do it an inch because I just want it to fit on the inside. And so you just measure the inside of your spine. Now, if you have a different book that you're using, then your measurements are going to be whatever it is that you need for what you're doing. So I'm just going to cut this off because I'm going to cut this in a minute anyway. So, okay. So I am just going to do 1 inch on this. All right, let me see. We're just going to do 1 inch, and that way it should fit in there just a little bit over. It should fit in there pretty good. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. I want it to fit in there. I just want it for some stability. I wonder if that's going to be long enough for both. We'll see. Okay. I need to put a new blade in there. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I think that's perfect size. I did it just a smidgen over. What I want to do is put that in here, and I'm going to also put either Tyvek or whatever in there over it. But this is just to give this a little bit extra stability. You could double it if you wanted to. I don't think it's going to need that. Here, let me go ahead and cut another piece, because I will need it for the other side. And I'm just going to use that. You could use a lightweight chipboard. I wouldn't, you know, actually I have something that might work a little better up here. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Let me try this. This might be a little bit thicker. I don't know. They're about the same, I think. They're about the same. So I'll just use that. This will work. It's just the idea that all I'm trying to do is reinforce it. I mean, you could use any kind of cardstock. I use file folders a lot because it's just the right weight for a lot of things, and you know, I have a bunch. I think I bought a box and I have like a huge stack of them. So, and you know, I don't, if you want to use like some old ugly cardstock, this is another good way to use it. So anyway, all right, so that'll work. Move that aside for a second. Here we go. I'm not going to need that for a little bit. So I'm going to take this and I am going to put that down first, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is that I just want a little extra stability in there, because we are going to use our eyelet punch and some eyelets later. So if you don't have one of those though, you can actually, after we put our reinforcement in here, you can punch holes in there and it will still probably work just fine. You don't have to have an eyelet setter or eyelets. You can do it without that, okay? But if you have one, I think that's a better way to do it for longevity. But if you don't have one, you can still do this. And guys, I used to have a little, if I can find it in here, I bought this super cheap years ago, and it is just a hand little eyelet punch. And in fact, I use it sometimes if I have kind of weird size eyelets or something. I use this, and it has different tips on it, and you just basically use this, and it works really well. I think I bought it in a deal where it came with eyelets, so it was not expensive. I'm sure I bought it off of Amazon. I may have gotten it in a craft store. I've had it for a really long time. But you can get one of those for very inexpensive. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to put this down here. And most of the time, I would use tacky glue for this for no other reason than it's cheaper than, you know, the glue I'm going to use, which is 3-in-1, and it works just fine. But because we're trying to get this done faster, this stuff dries really fast, so I'm going to use this. But most of the time, tacky glue for me works really well. But you use a glue, a strong glue, you want it to hold up. So I'm just going to put this in here, and I just make sure I get it all the way close to the ends, not all the way to the end because I don't want it to come out. And then I kind of zigzag, trying to get not get my sleeve in there. I can't even tell you, I started in my craft room, guys. Oh, and I forgot to say hello and hi and how's everybody doing. Excuse me. I'm trying to make my videos shorter, and it's hard. Okay, that's the part I shouldn't skip. But anyway, I was going to say, I've gotten to a point where I have a whole pile of clothes that I have put in to use for craft clothes, because you get this glue on your clothes, you can't get it off. So it's another reason why I try when I'm alone without, well, not when I'm alone. I'm alone right now. I try when I'm not filming to use the other glue, just because I don't, you know, I'm getting so much stuff all over my clothes. All right, but I have a pile of clothes that are my craft clothes now. Okay. I'm just going to put that down. And like I said, all that's doing is reinforcing this, because we're going to be putting some holes in that, and we want it to be strong. And you could put 2. I don't know. Should I? Maybe just for grins. I'll put 2 in there. It's not going to hurt it. And you just want to make sure that you don't do it so thick that you can't get your eyelet punched in there. But I think 2 would work. So I'm going to put 2. And then I'll have to cut some more now. But and my little spreader here. Like I said, I got this at the dollar store. All right, so I'm going to put that on. So I put 2 in there, and that does give it a lot of stability. This is an older book. If your book is not that old and it's pretty good shape, you may want to skip that part. But once you put your eyelets in there, you know, and you have your elastic, you don't want it to come down. Now remember I told you that I might use this. Well, I kind of changed my mind, because I just thought about the fact that I really do want to reinforce this part right here. Okay, where it bends, because it's kind of weak. I mean, you know, I guess it's made it this long, but if you're going to be getting in and out of it, you probably want to reinforce it. And see, here's the duct tape. It doesn't go quite far enough, but I could go here and then there. I could do the same thing with this. I could go here and then there. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Tyvek. Okay, so I'm going to use that. And I am going to just kind of go over the edge. I would like to do this about the same. I'm just going to mark it. And then I want to cut it with my cutter, or a cutter. Just because of the fact that I want it to be straight. Nobody's going to see it. I am going to cover it up, but I would like it to be kind of sort of straight. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and cut 2, because I'm going to need to. Come on, stay still. It's sliding. It's kind of slippery stuff. Okay. Anyway, save this stuff because it's not super expensive, but you know, it's not cheap either. So anyway, put that over there. Okay, and then I'll use that later. So anyway, I'm going to put this in here, and then let me just mark it and cut that. I only want it, I want it a little bit below. I don't really want it to show up here or down there, so I'm going to probably go to about right here. Just cut that with my scissors. And then this also will help reinforce this, and it'll help reinforce that. Okay. You know, actually, I don't think I did it wide enough because I don't want that on the bend. Let me see if I want to do that a little bit wider. I think I'm going to do it wider, just a little bit wider, just because, like I said, I don't want it to, I'm going to do it about like that. Oh gosh, it's not wanting to cut on the other side. There we go. Well, I could have cut it better with my, the reason it's kind of hard to cut is, like I said, it's kind of a nylon. And that's the cool thing about it. Now, this is the stuff that mailers are made out of. So a lot, you know, like for express mail and stuff like that. So if you get any mail or work in an office, and you know, most people throw it away after, take it, because I mean, you're not going to see it. We're going to cover it up. So if they have that, you can get it. And what's really funny is my husband, normally I ran out and he would bring me them from work, but he's been working from home since March and he hasn't gone into the office. So, and in order to go to the office, they have to fill out it's a big thing. So he, you know, I wasn't going to ask him. All right, so I'm going to just put that right here. I think that'll be enough. Yeah. I think the other one was just a tiny bit smaller, not probably that much, but I just would really like it to be enough to make sure that it doesn't pop up on the sides. So I am going to go ahead. I don't know how far it's going to go yet, but I'm going to go right to this edge, and I figure it'll squish out and do like I did before. Make sure there's enough so it doesn't slide around. I always move this around over here just because if you've ever used this 3-in-1 glue, especially if you're going to do fabric, if you don't kind of smush it around, it bleeds through. It doesn't really matter on this, but I'm just kind of in the habit of doing that. I'm going to move that up a little. I really don't want it to show on the other end. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of smush the end so it goes all the way to the end. Kind of smush it around. That's my official word for it, smushing. Okay, now that I've got that on there, I'm not going to bend it yet, but let it sit there for a second. I've got a few spots on this end that I need to glue down. Not sure why I didn't get glue there. All right, okay. So we've got that down and we've reinforced our spine. Now what I'm doing, I mean, as far as your spine being reinforced, you could just stop right there because that is really plenty, okay? You wouldn't have to do any more. But because, here, I'm missing glue there, right on the top. And I really shouldn't have done it until it was, you know, dry. But anyway, I am going to put material on here so that when I'm done, you will, you're not going to, you know, whatever papers are going to be here, whatever, I'm probably not going to replace those. I might on the gold ones. But anyway, I have this gauzy material, and I kind of want to put some of that here and having it sticking up and on the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of figure out how wide I want that. And I had taken it and kind of tea dyed it, and I want it kind of shreddy, if that's a word. So I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to shred it some more on top and on the side before I put it in there. And I don't care if it's going to be, and I know you can see through that, but you're going to see the next part that we do. And I want it to stick up a little bit on both sides, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Okay. So, and then I'm going to pull it some more, get it kind of ratty. I don't know if that's going to be wide enough. I might have cut it. Well, it might be. I want it to show and stick out with the other. I think that might be. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my other piece of cotton duck, and it is going to be just enough to cover that. Yeah, I think that'll be right here. Okay. So hopefully that torn is the right size for me. Let's see. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work. This one is going to fit in here, so I'm going to make it, let's see, right here. Okay. So I'm going to put that over that, okay? Kind of get that to split the difference. Okay, so I'm going to put this on first. And like I said, most of the time when I'm doing book covers, whether I'm doing a fabric cover or whatever, I don't normally use the 3-in-1. Not because it doesn't work well, it's just that it's a lot more expensive, and because you have to use so much glue, I will use the tacky glue, you know, a strong white glue, and let it dry in between, you know, the things I'm adding, because, you know, it saves you some money. And I might not leave that as long later, but I'd rather have it longer so I can cut it. And now I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go over the white part, because I'm going to barely be going over that. It's a little bit bigger, but not much. So that's why the Tyvek didn't really matter. If you would have put duct tape in here, you could have put duct tape. You know, it wouldn't have been probably wide enough, but you could put a couple, you know, strips in there. And then duct tape works really well. So, and the cool thing about duct tape, you don't have to add any glue. You just put it down. Now, if you use that athletic tape, you know, you just want to add glue to it. But it works really well too. It's very strong. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in there. And I want it to fit all the way down here and come all the way up. So it's perfect. There we go. That's perfect. And if it's a little loose on the side, that's okay. I'm going to just make sure it's all down there. Okay. Did that go all the way down? All right, I think I need a little bit more glue on these edges. I didn't put quite enough right here. I always would rather come back and add glue than, you know, have it bubbling out the sides. So I always err on that side, you know, adding it later or something. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go on to the next step. Let's make sure that's all squished in there good and let it dry. Okay, so I am going to do the exact same steps that we just did on the other cover. So that's what you would do. You would just take your other cover and do everything that I just did to this one, to this one, okay? And I will be right back when that's all done, okay? So just hang in there. Okay, we're back. I went ahead and did both of them. And as I was doing that, I kind of just was, this gold is bugging me because even though this pink cover's perfect, this gold is just, I don't know. This brown or brownish gold works fine for the outside, but this part of it kind of clashes. I looked through all the papers and I wasn't loving it, okay? Now, what I'm going to show you is something that you probably should have done before you did this part on this one, but that's okay because it doesn't really matter. We can still do it. I am going to put some kind of neutral paper on this, just on the inside right here. Okay. And on the outside right here, and then on this side. I'm not going to do it on this side, and you'll see why in just a minute, okay? So I'm going to do that, but before I do that, what I want to do, because the ends are going to be just a little bit showing, I'm going to do this. Let me get my stuff. It's back here, I guess. Okay, let me get this out. I'm going to take some of my gold gilding wax. And again, you probably could have done this before, but I thought I was just going to leave it. I'm going to take that and just go all over the ends to kind of disguise them a little bit. This is pretty dry, so I have to take like a big cake of it. And I usually do this anyway on a lot of stuff, and 9 times out of 10 I do it at the end because I just decide it needs it and I didn't do it before. And okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to hold this down. And I'm going to get it all the way here. And that kind of will disguise the end of it to where you can't see it. Do it on both sides. And I'm also going to do it on the other cover too. My little pieces are falling down. But I'm just going to do that and see how it just takes away that entire pattern. And it's gold on the end, so it's kind of a cool thing. I use this a lot. I do need to get another one though. But it does kind of last a long time, but I use it a lot. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So did I do it all over? I think I did. All right. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to go up on this end. Maybe I'm going to use a brush for that. That might work better. My little water thing here. I'm just going to take a little water with this because it's really dry and see if I can put it on that way better. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it all over here, and that just in case a little bit shows through on the paper, then what'll happen is you really won't see it. It'll just kind of all blend in a little bit, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover this up. I guess in my mind I thought the gold would look good with it, but I kept looking at it going, I don't know. I'm not buying it. And this gives you an idea too. If you don't like your cover, you can always paint it and do things to it and work with it. And I really wished I'd have had 2 of the pink covers because they were perfect. Okay. Like I said, I'm really just doing this just so that I have the background covered in case it doesn't go across there perfect. And I always like to do this anyway, a lot of times just to jazz it up a little. So anyway, I'm going to do this to this side. but I'll get it off later. Some more water in there. All right, let's try this a little bit thicker. So I'm not doing this all day. I'm gonna get it off this brush. It usually spreads on a lot better than this, but mine's pretty dry. And I had JoBeth Sexton told me to add mineral oil, not mineral oil. What oil did she say? I have it. Oh gosh, I'll think of it. Anyway, I have it, but I haven't had a chance. Let's see. Okay. All right, so I've done that. And I'm going to do it on the other side real quick. I'm going to stop the camera and then we'll get that done. Okay, so I went ahead and put the gold around all the little sides, okay? And so then after that, I am going to put the book together, and then we're going to do some other things. Okay, so this is how this works. You take, and make sure you have it right side up, because if you're going to leave this, I mean, if you're going to cover it, it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to do what I'm going to do and leave it open, you know, you want this side and this side. Okay, so you're going to take, this is the cover that you want on the outside. This is the cover you want on the outside. I want this on the outside, okay, to show, all right? So what's going to show on this is this and that and this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other one and I'm going to put it inside. So this is how it's going to fit. This is how it's going to look, okay? So that's why, do you see why I said the gold isn't really going to, I mean, it just looks like gold. And then the pink's here, so you're mainly going to see the pink, okay? But on this side, you will see the gold, and these are going to be covered, okay? So right here is the only part of this pattern that I don't like. So what I'm going to do with that, and it's going to be inside the book, I'm going to put this on here, okay, and cover it with some paper. That's why I'm saying if you don't have two that match, just look for a spine that you like this one I think looks fine with it. You know, it'll sit like that. Okay, so this is the part that's going to show, all right? And I can do this either now or I can do it later. Let's see, I think I'm going to try and do it now. No, actually, I'm going to do that later. I cut some paper, any paper you want to put on there. I think that one would fit better. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it now. Okay, since we're messing with it. I am going to put the paper that I cut right up to the edge. Let's see if I cut it straight. Okay. Looks like it's a pretty good fit. Let me see if the other one fits better. I don't know. Yeah, I think they both fit pretty good. This one's a little long. And this one seems like I cut it crooked. Of course, that's not a shocker. Let me see if I can just cut that real quick. Where'd my cutter go? There we go, under here. Okay. Oop. See if I can straighten that out and I might like it better. I don't think it's straight on the other edge either. Man, I tell ya. Let's see if I can get that somewhat straight. Let's see. Oop. Let me get it on there. All right. That still looks exceptionally crooked, but oh well, I don't know. Yeah, it looks better. Okay. So I will put that there. Now it's too short. I'll just use the other one then, I guess. Here we go. Did all that. All right, let's see. Okay, that's the part that's the problem. If all else fails, try your scissors. And I am going to put a little gold on this too, so I don't know if I should do it that way or this way. I think it looks better that way. Okay. So all I'm doing is going to add that on there. My top won't come off. I go through this glue like you wouldn't believe. And that's why when I'm doing stuff on my own, I do use a lot of tacky glue when I can. Now, I just about always use this on any kind of fabric, lace, or anything like that, because I think it just bonds better. But most of the time, if I wasn't doing a video on this, I would probably just use the tacky glue right now. Okay. But this stuff is strong. It does not come off, let me tell you. Right. I want to butt it up right up against the edge. And that's why I did that gold on the end, so that if there's any, and I can always come back in, and I probably will. I probably will come in and put a little gold on these edges just to kind of blend it in. I think that needs to come down a tiny bit. Okay, I think that's a good alternative. So what I did is I basically took this cover and I changed it to where it'll go better with our whole thing. Now this part has to glue down here, and you want to measure, not measure really, just kind of make sure, and I'm going to cover this part up. That's okay. This part will still stick out, and that's fine. And I'm going to put this edge to that edge. Okay, do you see that? You don't want to cover the part that's going to bend. So right here, you don't want to cover that. You want it to go from here to here, okay? So I'm going to take this and pretty much just put glue over all the parts that I want to, and be generous with your glue on this. Now I had the top in my mouth, so y'all couldn't hear me. I couldn't even hear me. All right. Find my little spready thing. I'm just going to go like that. Now you don't, like I said, you don't want to cover that part. You want it straight. Make sure it's straight this way. And that's it. So what you've done, make sure that's down good. I just feel like it's, yeah, that's better, I think. Okay. All right, let's see. So that's going to go like this, and that's going to go like that. That has to go down a little bit. There we go. All right, so this will fit like that, okay? And that will fit like that, and that's how you have your little book there, guys. So, we will be covering this and this, okay? So it doesn't really matter so much about how that looks, okay? I may cover this too. I haven't decided yet. But these will be covered with papers. Okay. And this I'll probably cut a little shorter for sure. But like I said, I like to do it a little long. Anyway, this will be covered with paper. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover this part of it. You could do this before, you know, and cover your papers before you put this down. I don't know. I have enough on each side that I can tuck them under, so I'm not worried about it. But anyway, that's the part that, you know, is kind of just a stylistic how you want it. Okay. So anyway, that is the guts of it. Now, we have a situation here where we have some choices as far as the binding goes. And at this point, if you want to put eyelets in it, you would put eyelets right up on top for your elastic, okay? And I'm kind of thinking I may not do that. I may just do the non-elastic. I mean the non. Let me see. I'm just going to see how tight it can get and how it feels. Because honestly, guys, I think because we put the reinforcement in, you know, the file folder and all that, I think this will work. The problem with doing this with not reinforcing it, it will bend your book. Okay, let me see this. Let me see if it'll work okay. I don't know. Problem is it moves around. I don't know if I like that. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the eyelets in. Get those out. I wasn't going to, and now I kind of changed my mind. So I am going to put an eyelet here, an eyelet here, an eyelet here, an eyelet here, and I'm putting in 2 folders and 2 signatures. 1, 2, 1, 2. So each one will hold 1. Okay. So I am going to eyeball it. I'm not going to measure it. And I am going to go, well, I could measure it. What the heck? That's probably a good thing to do. I am going to go up, I would say a 1/2 inch. Honestly, I really don't even like to. I'd rather go down. Yeah, I think I'm going to go 1/4 inch. Okay. And here's my spine. I can do 1 here. And 1 here. Okay. I'm going to measure these. Do the same thing. Go 1 here, 1 there. I'm going to do that on the other side. Now the way that Dawn did it is she did it with twine, or I guess it was twine, some sort of string or whatever, and you could certainly do that. I don't like how that pulls on the sides, but you could certainly do that, and you could certainly just put your elastic here and not do the eyelets. That's totally up to you. Okay, make sure that's, and I'm just gonna punch a hole, and this stuff, it will punch through all that very easily, so I wasn't concerned. I mean, that's 2 file folders and 2 okay, I might as well just use this. It always, I like to be able to see the little dot just right there. Now, if you were using like that tool that I had, it can punch the hole too. So you would need, it came with a little hammer and you just set it down. It's got one of the tops on there, punches a hole, and you just hammer it down. And you can use it to punch other holes. It's kind of a cool tool to have. I bought it, gosh, I probably had it 15 years, so I wouldn't be able to tell you where I got it. Well, I probably didn't get it on Amazon because I don't think I was ordering on Amazon back then. I thought that was a crazy thing back then. Just my kids did that all the time. But boy, I'll tell you what, things have changed now, especially with all that's going on. Shoot. A lot of people are doing that. Okay. If you would like to get in there. I don't want to punch a hole in that. All right. And the good thing is that we've reinforced it with enough that that's not going to rip or tear or do anything. So if you just didn't reinforce it or just did it with, I mean, you've got material in there, you've got Tyvek, you've got 2 pieces of file folder. I mean, I would be shocked if it tore. You'd have to really be messing with it to do that. And then if you put an eyelet in there, that's why I'm saying you don't have to put eyelets in there. It's kind of a, I don't know. At this point, I think you could get away with not having them. Let's just put it that way. 1, 2. I think I got those from 2 different places, so they look a little different. I don't think it's noticeable, but that's okay. I'm going to do it because I have one, but if you don't have one, you could punch the holes, and with all of the reinforcement that you have in there, it probably would stay just fine. The cool thing about doing this way, it's reusable. So next year, when you decide you want to do your December daily, all you have to do is make new inserts for it. So that is why I just said, because I just know me. I don't always, the fact that I'm taking the time to do this right now is, you know, and I have to resist giving it away or whatever. Let's hopefully it goes all the way through because this is really thick. Let's hope it works. All right, here we go. I got it the wrong way. That doesn't help. Yeah, it worked good. Okay. This is a lot for it to go through. It depends on your eyelet. It's not that this thing is not working good. It's just that you need something with a long enough little shank in there to go all the way through. When you press on it, it kind of helps, so. And I don't have that much hand strength, so it's kind of hard for me sometimes, so, you know. Like I said, though, I think you could totally get away with not having eyelets when you've reinforced it that much. And that's another thing with the material. Helps it from ripping or tearing or anything like that. So, anyway. Okay. If I have to go back and add a little to that. That's another thing with that little hand one that I have. Oh, I'm missing one. I probably swished it away. No big deal. I have a bunch of them. Okay. There's another one. Oh, 2. Have extras. Okay. All right. Anyway. with that hand tool that I have, you could definitely go back in and pound it with the hammer if you had to, because I have done that. This just kind of makes it look nicer, I think, too, regardless of, you know, they're a little bit different gold, but that's okay. I doubt anybody will notice. When I got new ones, I just dumped them in there with the old ones, and, you know, every time the metal's just off a little bit, but that's okay. I very rarely, when I'm putting any kind of jewelry on my journals, worry about things matching. It's supposed to be a junk journal. Now, probably you would wait till your cover was dry, because I'm kind of manhandling this right now. But, you know, since I'm live, I didn't think you'd want to wait for that. Okay. Like tonight, I'd probably put something on this. Okay, so anyway, now that we have done that, okay, so you guessed it, we're going to take our elastic, and I'm going to try this elastic, and just what the hey, right? Maybe it'll work. I usually take 2 lengths, and I end up cutting some off, but I do that. And 1, 2. I got this at a resale shop for 10 cents, so, you know, there's not that much on there, but hey. I completely forgot about it, and I was going to use the black, and I saw this, and I went, oh, that'd be pretty. I think it'll work. You know, I think it'll work. Okay, so we have 4. And all you're going to do is you're just going to take this and put it in here. And put it over here. And tie it. And I tie it, you know, not too tight, but pretty tight. Let's see, that ought to work. And you can leave the string long or not. It's up to you. Okay. Why am I having such a hard time with this? Okay. Should be easy. Should be easy peasy. You want it to be tight enough that it'll hold in whatever you're putting in there, but you don't want it so tight that it, you know. Okay, this is where, let me get them out. I want to show you guys if you don't have any. If you have any of these tweezers, this is the greatest thing. If you want to do something tight like that, let's say I want it like right here. It's probably about right, okay? And I want it to stay tight. I take these little tweezers in there, and it holds the little knot, okay? Like another set of hands. Look at that, see? That's it right there. So I'll probably tie that in a bow, just so that the person that gets it can untie it if they want to. So anyway, gonna do that. When I got those tweezers, I was like, what? How do you use those? Oh, but I use them so much now. It's like, oh, you wouldn't believe it. Here, I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that right now. Okay. I think I'm going to take that. Oh, I didn't put it in the middle. It only works if you do it right. Okay. And if you put this and leave it in a knot or a bow or whatever, I would put like a dab of glue because it'll come undone. I probably will. I don't know if I'm going to do a bow. I'll probably leave it in a knot and just put a dab of glue. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I think the gold's going to look cool. My 10-cent find, huh? Right, guys? I have not been thrifting in a while, so I just kind of feel it. I bought a bunch of material last time. I'm supposed to cut up, put in my Etsy shop. I think I told you guys about it. But I have not done it. I have it all. We have an upstairs game room right next to my craft room. So when I did my craft room tour, I had all these people talk about how organized, blah, blah, blah. Well, guys, I have overflow. I mean, I have 2 closets, not including the walk-in closet that I have in here in my upstairs bedrooms that are full of stuff, which I really need to get out because I don't use any of the stuff in there. It's kind of like stuff that I don't do anymore. I know everybody has that, and I got rid of some of that stuff, but I really, it's like, oh, I might use that someday, which some stuff I actually have, but, you know. Anyway, but I was going to say, when you walk outside the door, I've got a huge game room in there, and it's got a pool table, and I have like a ping pong table top, but I always turn it over on the back side. And then I just, stuff gets piled on top of that until I sort it out. And I have all that material just sitting there and a bunch of other stuff. So I really have got to get to the point where I can get that all sorted out and listed and or given away. Oh, that's right. We're getting really close to my 1,300. I mean, so like in the next few days. So y'all make sure you're a subscriber and comment, because that way you'll be entered, and they'll have 3 winners. And I don't know. Anyway, so I would take these and yeah. Okay. I'm not going to mess with them right now because I don't know for sure if that's the rate. I'm going to wait till I get the papers in there. But that's what you're going to do, and that's all we're going to do for today. The next time, we're going to do all the inserts and everything like that. But this is going to go like that, okay? And eventually, we're going to have our 2 signatures right here, our 2 file folders right here, and they have little pockets in them and everything. We're going to have a little pad right here, and in the middle, we're going to have a little kind of ephemera thing. And it's all going to go just like that. It'll be wonderful. Okay, guys? That's it for today. Don't forget that after this, we're doing little golden books. So, you know, find your little golden book that you want to do. So, thank you for hanging out with me. And thank you all my loyal subscribers. I love you guys. And all you new people. I hope I didn't bore you to death. This will get better the next time you see it. Okay, so we'll see you again soon. I'll be doing the next video on Tuesday. All right.